Hello and welcome back to Texas Truck Channel. I'm Brian, and Sam and Craig are actually gone because we finished filming this morning. But I decided to do a last minute tow test with the 4Runner TRD Pro. And the reason why is because we keep hearing from you guys that, hey, yeah, okay, it makes 465 torque with the iForce Max, but maybe we're missing the point that it's about towing, not about 0 to 60. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tow with it. We have had this Polaris General 4 XP4 1000. This thing is freaking awesome, and it's going back today. We've had it for about 2 months, and what a machine. Separate review on that coming, so if you want to see more about that, be sure to subscribe, you'll get all that. But today's gonna be all about the towing, because this puppy is rated to tow 6,000 pounds, and this combo right here is just under 4,000 pounds with fluids, and as we have it sitting. This trailer is actually really heavy, and the side-by-side's about 2,100 pounds. So we're kind of in that territory. We're not at max, but we're at a healthy towing amount that I think it's worth towing with. It's not like it's 1,000 pounds, you wouldn't even feel that. Let's talk about the suspension on this. We do have the TRD Pro, so we have Fox suspension, and if you want all the full reviews of this, we'll have that coming as well. But I just want to talk about the towing aspects. Because we have the TRD Pro, we actually have a softer spring rate than you might get on like a TRD Off Road in theory. That being said, we had a TRD Off Road Tacoma. It was really soft, so I don't know if that's going to be true or not. What we do have is the Fox QSV shocks all around, and what I've done is I've actually put them on firm on all four corners. We had it on soft this morning, and unladen, that's a good time. It rides great, does well on dirt, but it's a little too wallowy. But with this much tongue weight, which we think is about 380 pounds back here, I was like, you know what? While we were going on the highway, let's have a little firmer shocks to go with the spring rate and try and help it out. A couple things you can tell is it has squat in the back, but it's squatted a lot less than I thought it would. But the way you can tell is look at that rear control arm. That's usually pointed slightly downward, and now it's just slightly upward. So we're squatting probably 2.5 inches in the back. Not terrible. I thought it'd be on the bump stops. It is not on the bump stops. But I can tell you, just driving it around, there is suspension travel, which is really cool. That's working out great. So as far as the trailer, there are no brakes on the trailer, and it's just a 4-pin harness. Pretty simple utility trailer, but a heavy one because it has rear gates, side gates, and a wood floor. I do want to point out something that I think is going to help the Toyota, and Toyota's always been so good about this. These brakes, they're huge. They're basically a cast aluminum version of a Brembo, if you will, from the car world. There are 4 pots from the factory. Our Ford Ranger has 2 pots. That should be a benefit. Out back, 2-piston rear floaters. So let's get right to it. I'm going to do a 0 to 60 run with it, and we're going to do a highway and urban drive to take it back to the dealer. Let's see what we got. I'm going to show you guys real quick on the screen what our miles per gallon right now is. 17.4 miles a gallon has been our average for the last 6 days. And I'm going to go into trip info. 17.4 is the reset. Previous best is 22.5. Update it to 0. And let's see what we get towing going into Fort Worth at reasonable speeds. Before we get rolling, I'm going to put it in tow haul mode because that's going to help keep the hybrid motor on and also calibrate shift logic to be ideal for what we're doing right now. So iForce Max is always pretty active, except right off the line. I feel like it's always been pretty good for mid-range punch, and it feels the same here. Initial impressions are it is beefier mid-range than our Ranger is, and it should be. Our Ranger makes 310 foot-pounds of torque, and this makes 465. We're gonna test that out right now, actually. I'm gonna line up right here is flat level highway, wait till it's clear, and we're gonna do a 0 to 60 run right now. All right, you guys ready? This is with about 3,800 pounds, I believe. There's all the boost and all the iForce Max. 40 miles an hour, 50. Got a merge, running out of merge lane, and 60 and 12.73. There it is. This is not something that is tested often with trailers. I don't have anything to compare it to because I didn't test our Ranger with this. But we do know unladen today, this ran a 7.5 to 60 in this vehicle without a trailer. We also know that in the heat, this powertrain suffers a little more power delivery than in the cool. So this same powertrain last week in Tacoma form, without a trailer, ran 8.5 seconds. So keep that in mind. It's 95 degrees outside right now. All right, now I'm gonna clear the data again because that 0 to 60 run probably didn't help our testing. I'm just gonna drive it normally, like we're going into town, like I would any day with this trailer. And I've gotta say, the powertrain seems to be doing pretty well. For something that's a 4-cylinder and a hybrid, it feels plenty beefy to just cruise yourself up to speed. It doesn't feel very strained or stressed. I will say, here's the downside of the tow haul mode and the TRD Pro. This has a noisier exhaust than the Trail Hunter or the other trims of 4Runner, and it's always on. So now it just wants to drone more when you're in normal hybrid mode, it'll come on and off, and it doesn't seem to be that noticeable. I mean, you notice it, but it's not obnoxious. I'm kind of hanging out in the drone zone right now. We're doing 65 miles an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and set the cruise because that's what the speed limit is right here. Let's see here, lock it. There we go. And it's holding, I can't tell what gear because it doesn't have a gear indicator, but it feels like 6th gear instead of 8. I mean, we're at 2,500 RPM, and it's just kind of buzzing. While cruising on the highway, we're getting a lot of turbo spool, but not a lot of hybrid assist. The hybrid's not doing anything right now, so we're all in on the gas equivalent right now. So something I want to point out is that our buddies over at TFL have really owned the towing review market, and we haven't dipped our toe into it very much because honestly, we think they do such a good job at it. I don't think we could do a better job at it. We don't have a night gauntlet next door. They do. That's a great natural resource, and they obviously are a bigger operation. They have a great way of doing it, and they do such a good job at it. The reason why we're doing this one is because we've had a lot of questions about it, and the convenient timing worked out. I mean, we have day jobs and day lives outside of this, and so it's hard to time these things together. It worked out good today, so we're just gonna do it for you. But now that we're cruising at highway speeds, it's very stable. I don't feel like the tail is wagging the dog at all. We haven't found the bump stops yet. There's a lot of travel on these rear of these Toyotas, and that's seems to be working well for it. I'm impressed with that. And the ability to stiffen the rear shocks as needed is helpful in a moment like this, where it's not just wallowing and ballooning. That's probably keeping us off the bump stop. Keep in mind, spring rate handles payload and handles static load. Shocks handle the movement of the vehicle, and they can stiffen that up. It won't increase ride height, but it'll reduce the kind of wallowing of suspension. So it's working well right now. All right, coming up to the stoplight right now, coming down from 40 miles an hour, already at 20. And the brakes are good on this. We're not doing a big pass in Arizona or anything like that, but I don't feel like I'm having to apply a lot more brake pressure than I would without the trailer. These brakes have always been good with Toyota, and nothing's changed there. So one thing we cannot accuse Toyota of is being not smooth. This is a hybrid powertrain. Obviously, we're in tow mode, so it's going to stay on. But compared to its previous hybrids like Sequoias and the first-gen Tundra hybrids, they've really just dialed it in. This is a typical Toyota thing. They don't rest on their laurels. All right, now I'm giving partial throttle, and we're already up to 40 miles an hour. It is torquey. I wonder if this is making more power in tow mode than it would in other modes. Like, is it bringing torque in earlier? Because it feels like it just doesn't care, this trailer back there. See, now it's pulling more boost, full PSI at 3,000 RPM, and no hybrid draw at all. But I've noticed that the hybrid battery has charged 3 more bars in the time that we left on the highway. So I think it knows it might need it, and it's preparing accordingly. All right, we're going into a roundabout, entering 820 in Fort Worth, and let's see how the side-to-side control is. We're on all terrains, keep that in mind. We're doing 35 on this turn. I typically do about 40 on this turn, at max 65 in sports cars. There we go, there's all the hybrid boost. I'm at half throttle right now. See, now it's full of the hybrid juice, and it's full turbo right now. We're just coasting up from 55. So now I'm feeling a little heat soak, like the hybrid is not helping as much as it was earlier. Okay, that was a huge bump, and the Fox suspension really is very stable right there. I'm watching the trailer, and I'm not seeing a bunch of movement on tongue action. There's no anti-sway hitch on this. It's just a static receiver hitch. Impressive. All right, now the hybrid's back. We have full throttle acceleration from 70. Okay, that was up to 80, just to merge over here real quick. And there we go, we're on the highway. It's not leaning on hybrid at all. It's all turbo right now. We've got about half PSI. Okay, we found the bump stops. We just found it for the first time. That was a pretty big bump. But man, as a chassis, it's very stable. Still quiet on the highway. It doesn't feel like it's struggling very much. For you guys that have been with us for a while, we towed a Polaris Expedition with a rooftop tent from here to Loveland, Colorado, which is north of Denver there. We had 8 hours of in boost on the turbo, and it was pulling timing. You could feel it because the oil temps were getting high. I'm gonna go here real quick and look at the gauges. Everything is very much normal. We're exiting the highway now, and it is just did a bit of a pull. Everything is normal or below normal. No heat issues, and it is now 96 degrees outside. Coming off the stoplight again, the hybrid assist is not reading on the dial right here, but the turbo on its own has got plenty of juice combined with a gear ratio. Like, it's not struggling at all. That's pretty impressive. Okay, we're here, and here's the miles per gallon. We came out with 10.3 miles per gallon towing, and that is towing 4,000 pounds, or just shy. Well, it's 3,800 pounds, but we're gonna round up a little bit for the sake of YouTube on this one. I think I have a little crow to eat here. I've been ragging on this powertrain for a while, and you guys have been saying in the comments, no, you gotta tow with it. That's where it matters. I think you're right. Look, this isn't even the Tacoma. This is the 4Runner. I know they're the same chassis, but this doesn't need to tow as seriously as a Tacoma does. It's rated for 6,000 pounds. We're using 2/3 of its ability with this, and it's just really stable. The platform's stable. We only found the bump stop once. I will say our TRD off-road Tacoma was a lot softer in the rear suspension, and I feel like it would have been on the bump stop the whole time. We put 300 pounds in the bed, and it was like riding the bump stops. This isn't doing that. And the hybrid didn't assist on the gauge as much as I thought it would be doing, like off the line. But man, it just didn't seem to have a problem at all. There was no struggle from the powertrain, nothing overheated. And again, this is the Baja toy. This is not like a tugboat from them. I was wrong. This is not a terrible powertrain. It's still disappointing on 0-60 numbers because I just don't think Toyota cares about that. And that's okay, it doesn't need to do that. It's not a race car. It's just one of the measurements that we use. And I gotta be honest, this tows this load better than our Ranger seems to, in the heat at least. And the reality is we didn't test this for 8 hours going to Colorado. It might have been a different story, but at least around town on a mixed urban and highway route, it did a good job. If y'all have any more questions, let us know. If you have any ideas on how we could do tow tests better, or if you even want to see more of these, let us know below. If you don't, we won't do them because it takes a lot of work to do these. But if you have an appetite for it, we'll figure it out. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.